Hello, my name is Kit Gallup, and I'm the Director of Field Services at the Retirement Systems of Alabama, better known as RSA. Today, I'm going to speak with you about two of the 5 plans that we administer at RSA. The first plan I'm going to speak with you about is our voluntary RSA-1 Deferred Compensation Plan, which allows us to save additionally for retirement through the easy practice of payroll deduction. And then I'm going to speak with you about the Employees Retirement System, ERS. That's our defined benefit retirement that we're required to participate in as a condition of our employment as state of Alabama employees. So let's start. We want to be sure that you're keeping up with your retirement throughout your career, not just right now at the beginning of it. We want to keep you apprised of your benefits throughout. So we do have an early to mid-career seminar that's geared for folks just like you getting started with the state. Those dates and locations of our seminars are posted in February each year, and it's only a half-day program, so you don't have to even take a full day of leave. Retirement preparation seminar, well, that's going to be for a little bit later in our careers. That's for those who are within 5 years of retirement eligibility. It's a more detailed full-day program, and we also post the dates and locations in February each year. Now, be mindful, of course, due to the pandemic, we've temporarily had to suspend our retirement seminars, but we hope to resume them later this year, and I'm already planning the schedule for 2021. We want to be sure that you get the correct information, so feel free to call RSA to speak with an RSA-1 or an ERS counselor. It's better to do that rather than to rely on your coworkers for advice. Get it from the horse's mouth. Call RSA or make an appointment. We do have in-person appointments, however, they have also been temporarily suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So once we resume those appointments, you can schedule one at our RSA headquarters here in Montgomery. And also we have the Member Online Services portal on our website, which gets you access to your account or accounts at the Retirement Systems of Alabama. So importantly, be sure to sign up for the Member Online Services portal on our website, which I'll show to you at the end of the presentation. But I'll say right now, rsa-al.gov, and go to the upper left-hand corner and you'll find the Member Login section. Be sure to set up your user ID and password and answer the appropriate questions, and boom, you'll have access to your account. So in the future, you'll only need to provide your user ID and password. And then finally, you see a picture of it up on the screen there, the RSA-1 member handbook. You can download that RSA-1 member handbook as well as the ERS member handbook on our website by clicking on the appropriate tab under publications. Now, whenever we talk about retirement, we like to think about how much we can build up our retirement income. And many financial advisors suggest that you try to replace about 85% of your pre-retirement salary with different sources of retirement income. So as members of the Retirement Systems of Alabama, who have the ability to participate not only in the employees' retirement system, but also a extra personal savings plan known as RSA-1, it won't be difficult for us to eventually meet that 85% threshold. The key to doing it is understanding your benefits and how they work, and then also activating those benefits. You know, as I mentioned earlier, the RSA-1 plan is voluntary. So it's up to you to activate that benefit so that you can take advantage of it to save more towards retirement. The RSA-1 plan is what's known as a 457 plan, 457 plan. It's similar to a 401k that many private sector employees participate in to save for retirement, but a 457 plan is similar to a 401k, but for government employees. So RSA-1 allows you to set aside a portion of your salary each pay period to save more for retirement. When you do so, you get to invest that deferred salary, and you get to choose how to invest it among our 3 different investment funds. The good thing is that you accumulate earnings on a tax-deferred basis. So you're not paying taxes on this money as it grows. You only pay taxes on it when you pull the money out when you eventually retire. The good thing is also you're saving in 2 ways. Of course, when you participate in RSA-1, you're saving for retirement. but you're also saving on taxes right now because you're deferring a portion of your income, thereby deferring the income taxes that you would have otherwise owed on that. So you're lowering your taxable income when you're saving in RSA 1. That all leads up to more money to enjoy retirement. As I mentioned just a moment ago, we have 3 different investment funds with the RSA 1 plan. We have the bond fund, the stock fund, and the short-term investment fund. That's what I love about RSA 1. It's simplicity. With only 3 investment funds, I'm not going to be burdened with having to decide among dozens, just 3. The bond fund tends to be a pretty stable fund. It's going to be more appealing to people who are really risk averse, who don't want to be taking some chances with their retirement savings. The bond fund is going to be more up your alley. The bond fund tends to yield 2, 3, 4%, maybe 5% every year. That does fluctuate, of course, and there have been some negative years, but they tend to be very small losses and they are recouped very quickly. The bond fund is majority corporate and governmental bonds, so you're not going to see the volatility with the bond fund that you would otherwise see with the stock fund. The stock fund has been very volatile, especially this year during the pandemic, as you can imagine. The beginning of the year started off terribly, and then it started rebounding once we've came out of the shutdown. So the stock fund has been doing pretty well so far this year, as speaking right now on August 10th. It could change come September. That's how volatile the stock fund is. But remember, if you're on the young side, and many of you have just started working for the state at a young age, don't shy away from the stock fund because it can be very rewarding. Despite being risky, it can be very rewarding, and it can really add up your account balance very quickly. Now, the short-term investment fund, that's going to be a very low risk, low yield fund. You're going to see somewhere usually between 1, maybe 1.5% rate of return with the short-term investment fund. It's not going to be a moneymaker by any means, but it's going to be pretty stable. It's never had a loss since we started offering the short-term investment fund back in 2015. So you can choose among these 3 different funds, and you can split among these 3. If you want to put 50% in bond, 30 stock, 20 in the short-term investment fund, that's perfectly allowable. Keep in mind, that's not a recommendation by any means. That's just an example of how you can split among the 3 different funds. And you can also change how your account balance is invested every 90 days. You can also change every 90 days how your future deferrals will be invested. Perhaps you're satisfied with how your current account balance is invested, but you want to maybe switch up how your future deferrals will be invested. You can do this every 90 days with the RSA 1 plan. Now, the makeup or the composition of those investment funds, the 3 we get to choose among, that's going to be decided by Dr. Bronner and the RSA investment staff. They're the same ones who are handling our investing of the ERS retirement funds, and I like that because I'd much rather have the experts handle my RSA 1 investing than me having to pick everything. I can just choose among the 3 different investment funds. The RSA investment team is going to handle the makeup of those investment funds. And because we're state employees at RSA, we don't charge any fees to participate in the RSA 1 plan. RSA 1 has no fees. And with no fees, that means you get to keep more of your money. When you participate in a plan that has fees, and there are other plans out there that you may be eligible to participate to save for retirement, they oftentimes charge fees. That's not the case with RSA 1. A plan that does charge fees is deducting them from your account balance every so often, thereby not allowing that money to be reinvested on your behalf. It's being deducted from your account to pay, for example, a commission or a bonus or a membership fee. There are no fees with RSA 1, so that's a great feature of the plan. Absolutely no fees, so all the money you defer and the investment earnings you accrue, that makes up your account balance in RSA 1. There are also no minimums that you have to put into RSA 1. It could be just $25 a pay period if you want. Keep in mind, state employees, we get paid twice a month. So if it were $25 a pay period, it'd be $50 a month. But there are no minimums. However, there are maximums. Remember, when you defer money from from your salary into the RSA-1 plan, you're doing so before income taxes. And so while the maximum that you can contribute is pretty high, Uncle Sam's going to be sure to get some tax revenue off of our income. And as a result, we can defer up to a maximum of $19,500 if we're under the age of 50, or $26,000 if we're age 50 or older. Now, as we get closer to retirement eligibility, in fact, once we become within 3 years of retirement eligibility under the employee's retirement system, then we can participate in what's known as the special catch-up, where we can defer up to twice the normal deferral limit, which would be $39,000 in the year 2020. And when it comes to deferring salary and saving for retirement, it works better for us if we start earlier, because when you start earlier, you're giving your money, you're investing more time to grow. So it always helps to start as early as possible. But if you're starting later in life, it's never too late to start saving for retirement. So let's take a look at an example of the power of compounding. And the power of compounding means that's when your interest that you earn starts earning interest. It's a snowball effect. It grows faster. So starting earlier is going to give more time for that money to grow. Assuming a 6% earnings rate of return, and that's not far-fetched by any means, especially when you compare that to what the stock fund in RSA-1 performs at. Using a start age of age 25, if you were to defer $50 a pay period at age 55, 30 years later, that amount that you put into your account and the earnings that you accrued would be over $100,000. Now compare that to starting 5 years later at age 30 and deferring $50, the same amount each pay period. At age 55, the savings amount would equal less than $70,000. So this is the point I'm trying to drive home here with the power of compounding. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow and the interest to compound on the interest. So remember, the power of compounding is how the RSA-1 plan really helps you build up retirement savings. Another thing to keep in mind as a new state employee, that when you eventually retire, you're probably going to have a lot of annual leave, which layman's terms is vacation time, and sick leave built up. The state of Alabama is extremely generous at rewarding those who are able to hold on to their annual and sick leave. Because if you hold on to your annual or sick leave, you can receive compensation for it when you retire, and that compensation, that payment or payout, could then be deferred into the RSA-1 plan. So as a state employee, we can accrue up to 480 hours of annual leave or vacation time. So that's the most that we can build up. We can get paid for all that we have built up to a maximum of 480 when we retire. As far as sick leave is concerned, we can earn up to 1,200, but we can only get paid for half of our sick leave at retirement. So as you see, that could be a pretty substantial payout. Ever more the reason why you should try to hold on to your leave throughout your career. It will be a nice boom to your retirement savings when you eventually retire. Now, getting access to your account in RSA-1 is really easy. You can get it whenever you separate from service, regardless of your age, whether that be through retirement or termination of employment. So separation from service at any age, that's very different from a lot of other deferred compensation plans, such as the 401k. Those plans often require that you be age 59 and a half in order to gain access to your account monies. And if you're younger than that, then they charge you a penalty. And that's not the case with RSA-1. There are absolutely no penalties with the RSA-1 plan. You can gain access to this at any age, just so long as you've separated employment. Now, keep this in mind because, if you plan on making an early retirement, you could use your RSA-1 account to tie you over, say, until you reach Social Security eligibility. You don't have to be any age in order to gain access to your RSA-1 account monies. It's your money. Whenever you separate in service, it's yours. Now, if you're still working and you need to get some of that money out because you experienced an unforeseeable emergency, you may be able to take a hardship distribution to help rectify the damage that you incurred as a result of experiencing that unforeseeable emergency. And if you're still working here at 72, And folks, don't laugh. We've got a lot of septuagenarians working for the state of Alabama. If you haven't met them yet, you will. But if you're still working here at 72, you can begin taking distributions from your RSA-1 account in spite of still being employed. You can also use the monies in your RSA-1 account to purchase permissible service credit under the employee's retirement system. So as you're going to learn a little bit later in my presentation, especially concerning ERS, I'm going to talk about different services that service credit that you may be eligible to buy. You know, there's withdrawn service. If you've ever been in the plan before and withdrew your account, you can buy that time back after you've resumed contributions for 2 years in ERS. There's also military service. You can purchase up to 4 years of active duty so long as you are not scheduled or currently receiving a retirement benefit based off of that military service. And we also have out-of-state public service. Out-of-state public service would be something, say, over in Georgia. You worked for the state of Georgia. Now you're here in Alabama and you want to bring those years into Alabama's plan. If you're not vested over in Georgia, you may want to do that. However, you have to be vested in our plan first in order to bring over monies from another state. Transfers from another 457 plan, that's allowable, okay? You are allowed to transfer money in from another 457 plan into RSA-1. However, if you have a 401k, maybe through a previous job, you would not be able to transfer that into RSA-1. It has to originate from a 457 plan. Now, if you worked in government previously, chances are you had the option to participate in a 457 plan because it is a deferred compensation plan geared to government workers. So if you have another 457 plan, you are allowed to transfer it into RSA-1. Just be sure that you set up your RSA-1 account first before pursuing the transfer. And also know this, the transferred money, you could invest it independently of any future deferrals you put into RSA-1 through payroll deduction. Now, keeping track of your RSA-1 account is real easy to do. We post to the Member Online Services portal to your account, your RSA-1 account statement on a quarterly basis. We also mail them if you wish to receive them by mail. However, if you're someone like me who wants to find out more frequently how RSA-1 is performing, you can review the website on a monthly basis, and we post the rates of return for the 3 different funds on our website no later than the 10th day of the following month. And you can also log into the Member Online Services portal and look at your account and compare it against the previous month and see how much it's hopefully grown. Now, eventually when you retire and you start taking monies out of RSA-1, you can take them in many forms. However, if you choose to receive them on a monthly basis, those monthly distributions from your RSA-1 account are going to be made direct deposit to your bank account on the last business day of the month, which happens to be the day that you receive your ERS retirement benefits. Now, to enroll in RSA-1 is very easy. If you don't have the RSA-1 member handbook yet, you may want to download it from our website. The last 4 pages in that member handbook, of course, if you have the hard copy, the last 4 pages are going to be perforated. And those are the enrollment forms to set up your RSA-1 account. You can enroll in RSA-1 at any time, so activate that benefit that's available to you as soon as possible. Start letting that money grow. You can also change the amount that you want to put into RSA-1 at any time, just so long as you have followed any extra rules that your employer has in place. Now, the enrollment forms are in the back of the member handbook and also can be found on our website. Enrollment form, very self-explanatory. The beneficiary designation form is just that, who would get this money in the event that you pass away before exhausting your RSA-1 account. And then the investment option election form. This is what you would tell us, or on which you would tell us how to invest the monies in your RSA-1 account among the 3 different funds, the bond, the stock fund, and the short-term investment fund. And remember, with the investment option election form, it has to add up to 100%. Authorization to defer form is what you give your payroll officer to initiate the deferrals from your salary. In fact, your payroll officer with the state will be very easy to work with and should be able to take all 4 of these forms and handle them for you. So just make sure that you fill them out in their entirety. The beneficiary designation form, remember, this is for your RSA1 account, so it's not the same beneficiary designation that you have for your ERS account. So just remember, you can change how often you'd like to, how much you'd like to put into the plan, increase, decrease, stop, or restart at any time. So it's a real easy plan to participate in, and I hope all of you consider joining as soon as possible. It's been a very good thing for me myself. I have been able to amass a very nice nest egg for retirement. And once you start putting the money away, you tend to forget that it's even coming out of your paycheck. So it's a great way to save more for retirement is through the no-fee RSA1 Deferred Compensation Plan. Now, the next plan I'm going to speak with you about is called the Employees Retirement System, or ERS. And this is a secure lifetime benefit. And we say that because it's something known as a defined benefit retirement. A defined benefit retirement promises us, guarantees us a lifetime benefit once we retire. Okay? Once we retire, we are guaranteed that lifetime benefit so long as we live. It doesn't matter how much is in our account balance with ERS when we retire. That doesn't determine how much we're going to draw each month. There's actually a formula that we use, and I'm going to show you in the presentation so you can kind of get an idea of what you'll be drawing from the employees' retirement system when you eventually retire. I know it's a ways off, but this is a plan that you are required to contribute to as a condition of your employment working for the state of Alabama. So it's best to know how the plan works and how good of a deal you're going to have when you eventually retire. As I mentioned, this is a defined benefit plan, ERS. What I mean by that is that the benefit amount is defined. We know what it is, and that's guaranteed lifetime benefit for the retiree. So unlike a 401k, which eventually goes away when the money's gone, that's not the case with a defined benefit plan. And that's why working in public employment is so popular for the benefits. Great benefits plan we have as a defined benefit plan. We use a formula to calculate that monthly retirement benefit. So keep this in mind. It's not just some arbitrary number that we say you're going to receive for the rest of your life. We actually have a formula. And this formula is established by law. So it's not, our monies each month are not dependent on how well or not RSA investments perform. Now, with the defined benefit plan, ERS, we become vested, meaning we are eligible for a lifetime benefit once we have 10 years of service. Vested benchmark to meet on our pathway to retirement. Once we have 10 years in the ERS, the Employees Retirement System, once we've contributed for 10 years, we become vested. That entitles us to a lifetime benefit later down the road. So if we work 10 years and we're not yet retirement eligible, but we leave and decide to pursue employment elsewhere, so long as we do not withdraw our account from the Employees Retirement System, at a point in the future, we can reach out to ERS and apply for our retirement benefits. Now, ERS had some changes made back in 2012, and one of those changes was the creation of a two-tiered plan. All Tier 1 members are those who started contributing to the Employees Retirement System before January of 2013. So maybe you're new to the state of Alabama, but if you have employment elsewhere, maybe in a local government or with the Board of Education, before 2013, if you were contributing to the ERS or even the Teachers Retirement, TRS, you are deemed a Tier 1 member and you're contributing at 7.5% of your earnable compensation. Now, for our counterparts who are full-time and certified firefighters, correctional officers, and law enforcement officers, they're contributing at 8.5% of their earnable compensation. And the reason why they're contributing at 1% more is because as Tier 1 full-time certified firefighters, law enforcement, and correctional officers, they get one bonus year for every 5 years they work in that full-time certified position. They also have to pay more for that benefit, and that's why they pay one additional percentage more. Now, Tier 1 members can begin collecting retirement benefits after 25 years, regardless of age, or at age 60 with at least 10 years of service credit. Remember, service credit is an important feature of our plan. Service credit determines when we're eligible for retirement, but it also determines what we're going to draw in retirement. I'm going to show you in just a little bit with that formula that I've alluded to a few times already. Notice Tier 1, 25 years of service credit at any age, or at age 60 with at least 10 years of service. Maybe you've come to work for the state of Alabama as a second career, and you may reach age 60 with at least 10 years long before you get to 25 years. So you may be eligible for retirement at age 60 as your Tier 1 member with at least 10 years of service credit. Now, Tier 2 went into effect back in the legislation passed in 2012, but it went into effect on January 1st of 2013. So beginning January 1st, 2013, if you started the contributions to the ERS at that point or later, you are considered a Tier 2 member. Employees who were enrolled in the employees' retirement system or even the teachers' retirement system prior to 2013 are grandfathered in as Tier 1. Tier 2 members, participation, of course, is mandatory. It's the condition of your employment, just as it is for Tier 1, but you're only contributing at 6%, while full-time certified firefighters, correctional officers, and law enforcement are contributing at 7% of their earnable compensation. They're contributing 1% higher in those positions because they can retire a little sooner than regular members. Under Tier 2, regular members can retire at age 62 with at least 10 years of service credit. If you're a full-time certified firefighter, correctional officer, or law enforcement officer under Tier 2, you can retire at age 56 with at least 10 years of service credit. Notice there is no longer a 25-year retirement at any age. And that's often been a question that I hear is, why was there a change to create Tier 2? Well, it's following the trend that's happening nationwide. Defined benefit plans have to pay somebody for the rest of their lives. And with life expectancies continuing to rise, it's not far-fetched for a defined benefit plan such as ERS to be paying somebody longer than they actually worked in the system. So many changes have been happening over the past 2 decades with defined benefit plans. And so about 10 years ago, the legislature decided to create a Tier 2 plan for all those who are coming in January 1st of 2013 or later. And creating the Tier 2 plan helped maintain the solvency and viability of the ERS plan for a longer period of time, okay? Because people are no longer able to draw it after 25 years at any age if they're Tier 2. You know, it was not unheard of people in their mid to late 40s under Tier 1 are eligible to retire and had done so. That's no longer the case with Tier 2. There's also a pre-retirement death benefit in our ERS plan. Understand that we have to contribute a portion of our income each pay period to our benefit, our ERS benefit. So if we were to pass away before we retire, it's important to know that our beneficiary is going to receive a monetary death benefit. And what that death benefit would be depends on many factors. First and foremost, whether you're retirement eligible or not, and also how many years and months of service credit that you have, because that can change what that pre-retirement death benefit could be. We have a chart in the member handbook, whether it's Tier 1 or Tier 2, I believe it still happens to be on that page, lucky number 13, our pre-retirement death benefit. So you may want to make your family aware of this benefit, but also while I'm on this topic, let me point out how important it is to keep your beneficiary current. If you forget to name or rename your beneficiary, say if your beneficiary were initially your ex-spouse and now your ex-spouse, you've never changed it, you remarried. If you've never changed it, your ex-spouse is going to get the benefit. We always pay the last designated beneficiary. So be conscious about keeping your beneficiary current And you can always go to your payroll officer to find the change of beneficiary form, or you can download it off of our website. Very easy to find. Now, as I said earlier, there's different types of service credit out there. We have membership service. That's something that we all earn. And membership service is what most of us are just going to have. It's not unheard of. People just retire with membership service. I will. I'm not going to be able to purchase any service, but we do have types of services that you may be eligible to purchase to add to your service credit that you've established already through employment. For example, we have withdrawn service. Say if you were in the employee's retirement system or the teacher's retirement system earlier in your career, you separated employment, withdrew your account, and then lo and behold came to work for the state of Alabama. Once you have resumed contributions to the ERS for 2 years, then you'll be given the opportunity to purchase that previously withdrawn service back. We also have military service. There are different types of military service out there, and you may be able to buy up to 4 years of active duty military service so long as you're not eligible or scheduled to receive or currently receiving a retirement benefit from that military service. We also have 2 different types of military service in the sense that you can buy that up to 4 years of active duty in your very first year of employment, which is going to be the more opportune time to do so, as it's a lot more affordable at that point. And then the next opportunity to purchase military service to add to your ERS service credit would be when you are vested in ERS. After you have 10 years of contributions, then you'd be eligible to receive a cost letter on purchasing military service at that point in your career. However, it comes at a more steep price at that point in your career. There's also another type of service that if you are called up to active duty and as a result are no longer able to work and go on leave of absence without pay, you would no longer be contributing to the ERS during that time of leave of absence when you were called up to active duty. However, upon returning from active duty, you have up to 3 times the length of your tour of duty to purchase the time that you were away on leave of absence on duty where you were not making contributions to the employee's retirement system. Now, you have up 3 times the length of a maximum of 5 years. So keep that in mind. If you're in the military and you are called up to active duty, you will be given the opportunity to buy that time that you were called up to active duty once you return, and there's no interest involved. It's simply the amount that you would have paid had you not been called up to active duty. The last purchasable service I'm going to speak about today, and these are not the only 3 types of purchasable service, there are many more, but out-of-state public service is a type of service that you're bringing in from another state pension plan. Say if you worked over in Georgia and you were not vested, you want to bring that time into Alabama, you can do that once you are vested here in the ERS of Alabama. Once you're vested in Alabama, you can bring in out-of-state public service. It's going to cost you, but just keep in mind that you have the opportunity to do that once you are vested. There are other types of leave that you may be able to buy, and I encourage you to look in the member handbook to review all the different types that you might be interested in purchasing. Now, we also have sick leave conversion under the ERS plan, but it only applies to Tier 1 members. So if you're a Tier 2 member, you would not be able to convert your unused sick leave into service credit at retirement. The benefit of the sick leave conversion is it allows members who are Tier 1 to convert their unused sick leave to get them to retirement eligibility. So you can use it to attain minimum service requirements for retirement, or if you've already met minimum service requirements to retire, adding that sick leave on top of your service credit that you've already established would help increase your monthly retirement benefit. Okay. Also, you cannot be paid for sick leave and obtain service credit either. Okay, so it's either one or the other. You can't get paid and convert. It's always one or the other. Now, RSA disability retirement does exist for our members who are vested in our plan. It's not the same as Social Security disability, and I want to stress that everybody do understand that. Social Security disability is a whole different ball of wax than RSA disability. RSA disability requires that members have at least 10 years of service credit, in other words, vested, and they must be in service or currently working or on official leave of absence. So in other words, you cannot quit your job and then apply for RSA disability. You have to be in service or on official leave of absence. Now, it must be approved by the RSA Medical Board that reviews all disability applications and the support documentation to determine that you're no longer able to further perform your current job duties as a result of your disability. The same formula is going to be used to calculate a disability retirement as it is a service retirement. And keep in mind, while it's the same formula, you're not able to convert sick leave into service credit under a disability retirement unless you're already eligible for a service retirement. Now, about that formula that I've kept on talking about, here it is. If you're a Tier 1 member, our retirement formula is based off of your average final salary, which happens to be the average of the highest 3 years of salary out of the last 10 years the member made contributions. It's not necessarily the last 3 years, though as a state employee, you'll probably find out that your highest 3 years will be your last 3 years. It's multiplied by your years and months of creditable service, which would include membership service that we all earn for every month that we work, we get membership service, and any purchasable service. We multiply that by the constant benefit factor of 0.020125 or 2 1/80%, divide by 12, as there's 12 months in the year, and that gets us our maximum monthly benefit. Now, remember, the two variables here are average final salary and years and months of creditable service. The constant is the benefit factor and the 12 months. The way to increase our retirement benefit is to either have more years and months of service or a higher average final salary. So this is very important when planning for retirement. Tier 2, the average final salary is the highest 5 years out of the last 10 years the member made contributions, and we multiply that by years and months of creditable service, and then multiply it by the constant benefit factor of 0.0165. Divide by 12, and that gets us our maximum monthly benefit amount. Notice the benefit factor is a little bit lower with Tier 2 than Tier 1, and so that's going to have an impact on what that maximum monthly benefit would be for a Tier 1 versus a Tier 2 member. Now, when you retire, you're going to have to make some choices, but it's a choice that you don't make until then. So don't fret about making this choice right now. You make this choice at retirement. You have the maximum monthly benefit as one choice, but you have 3 other choices. They're all monthly benefit payments to you. The choice you make is going to result in you drawing a lifetime benefit. However, the choice you make will also reflect what you want to leave behind for your beneficiary after you've passed away. So you have 4 choices to make, 4 choices to choose among. You make that choice at retirement and come to some of our seminars throughout your career to find more details about how these choices work. Now, tax information. Just remember, the great thing about living here in Alabama as a retiree is that our retirement benefits are not subject to state of Alabama income tax, and they're not subject to FICA, which is Social Security and Medicare tax. Furthermore, as retirees, we're no longer making ERS retirement contributions. So a lot of stuff that comes out of our paycheck today won't be coming out of our paycheck as retirees. So it's important that we compare apples to apples, right? Make sure that we look at our take-home pay before and after retirement rather than looking at our gross salaries. Now, ERS retirement benefits are subject to federal income tax. No way of escaping Uncle Sam on that end. And also, if you wish to continue your great State Employees Insurance Board health insurance coverage, your retiree premiums will be deducted from your ERS retirement benefit as well. So you have a lot of things to think about. I'm glad I was able to share some information, just a cursory overview of your retirement benefits through the retirement systems of Alabama. I want to be sure that you all jot down this web address, and please visit it as soon as possible and set up your member online services account. You will be instructed to provide some information about who you are to set up your account. You will also need to know what your PID number, and you can request that PID number be mailed to you. We cannot give it over the telephone. So go to our website, in upper left-hand corner, you'll find the member login. I encourage you to do that. If you have any questions, you can always reach us toll-free. You see our phone number there, and also our email addresses. We will be happy to respond to any inquiries you have about the plans or your particular account if you just send us an email. With that said, I want to thank everybody for listening and, of course, watching. Have a great day and enjoy your career with the state of Alabama. Bye-bye.